Welcome to this BVTV Marketing Today's podcast, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. This is episode 2 in a trilogy with video professional Bruce Himmelblau. Hello again, Bruce.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited because, when I go into your website, which we'll address later on there, your experience is phenomenal. But I can see now, just like me, you've got the grey hair. So we've been there and done it, haven't we?
Well, I don't say I'm old. I say I'm a historian. So the fact that I can refer to things that happened back before I was born didn't mean I was living it.
Yes, good thing, yeah. I'm still stuck in the 60s music, by the way. Bruce, in episode 1, you kindly set the scene for us about the value of video marketing. Now, in this, episode 2, I want to dive with you into one of your many areas of expertise, and that is a live stream. It's obviously become big in its guise as a hybrid event during the COVID pandemic. The events manager's blog research that came out this last week stated that only 33% of marketers have hosted a virtual event. However, out of all those that did, 70% of respondents say they plan to host more of them. So, which is a firm yes statement, isn't it? Yep. So what is live streaming in your mind? What is it about live streaming that delivers for companies and brands? And that's putting aside green credentials, by the way. What's the pros? And of course, give us a few cons.
Well, the one pro with live streaming is you can be interactive with your audience no matter where they are in the world. Up until we started getting into live streaming over the past 18 months, we're kind of restrictive to our driving area. Within the Chicago area, we can drive maybe 2-3 hours to the client, do the video production shoot, come back and do the editing. Once in a while, we actually would get on a plane and fly to different parts of the country, but that was expensive. With live streaming, I can reach out to you in London or in the UK, and virtually we're in the same location as if we're being face to face. And when you're reaching out to a live stream audience, they can be interactive.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating, isn't it? And is it grown as fast as all the information that's coming out says it is?
Well, I've been into live streaming since pretty much 2016. And it was a little bit more bulky then. Prior to that, we were restricted to the network connections. Mm-hmm. These days, we're a very fast connection. We're doing video, and the uploads and download speeds are really quick. So there was a platform that was launched in 2016 or 2015. It was called Blab. And if you're familiar with a new platform called Clubhouse, yes. I was very familiar with Clubhouse, except that it had that video element to it as well. And so it had a large building community. It grew really quickly. And then for no apparent reason, after about a year, it was shut down. And then there was this gap from 2016 until recent, when people really didn't get that much into the live stream. But with platforms such as Zoom and the platform I'm using, which is called StreamYard, we are able to do streaming and not only to one platform, but to multiple platforms at the same time. So I can stream one show to my YouTube audience, to my Facebook audience, and to my LinkedIn audience all at the same time. And those audiences are so diverse that maybe they're not going to come over to YouTube, but they will watch on Facebook.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? And obviously, there's got to be a few cons, a few against. Is it? What do you think those are at the moment?
Well, I guess the number one con would be when no one shows up to your live stream.
Yes.
And if you're doing it by yourself, it is as if you're doing a podcast or a pre-recorded podcast. You're just putting the information out there. And that's one thing you should keep in mind is, even if the audience doesn't show up for your live stream, pretend as though there are people out there, because they're going to tune in to the replay. And so a lot of sometimes someone will open up a live stream with, okay, let's wait for some people to come in, and I'm just going to just kind of hem and haw for a minute or so. And again, referring to that replay audience, they're going to tune you out immediately. So when you start your live stream, you've got to start as if you've got your 100 viewers out there, 1,000 viewers out there, and address them from the first second, because you only have 3 to 5 seconds to really engage them. And especially with the replays, you got to keep those people in mind as well.
Yeah. Now, do you think then somebody's got to be fairly professional in their presentation, I think you would call it over there, to be able to do live stream? Because, you know, I'm doing recording, as you well know, with you at the moment there. And sometimes a lot of people will come on and say, well, if I make a mistake, can I cut it out again? And, you know, obviously that we can edit and everything like that, but you can't on live stream, can you?
No, not during the live itself, but you can in the replay. You can cut it and delete your live and only have it live to those people who were there live, and then re-edit it for the replay. But there's multiple things that can go wrong during a live stream. The platform that I'm using, I mentioned StreamYard, is if my signal went out during an interview one time, because I was broadcasting from the middle of a parking lot in one of the suburbs, and I was talking to a guest. The strength of the platform was it's not held on my computer. So when my stream went down, their stream, the guest stream, still kept going. Right. So if you've got a savvy guest, they're going to realize that you're no longer on camera, and they're going to keep talking until you actually come back. Yeah. And so again, if anything does go wrong, I would say just shrug it off and keep going. If a microphone falls in the background, it falls in the background. So the key is don't get distracted by things that go around. Stay focused.
Yeah. And is that a good message that brand marketing people should, and big companies should understand, that though this is a live event, it's like live television, accidents do happen, and you've got to be able to put up with them, haven't you?
Definitely. And again, that's where I've actually helped produce many live streams for other companies. And so by being a behind the scenes producer, I am running the board, I am taking notes, I am pulling up the comments as well as additional materials needed to highlight the show. The guest, on the other hand, or the host of the show, doesn't have to pay attention to anything else besides the guest and the message. So by having someone behind the scenes, you don't see Johnny Carson, if you know who that is.
Yes,
talking to the younger audience, let's say Stephen Colbert. You don't see Stephen Colbert running his own show. He's got a producer. He's got people behind the scenes. And so when you're doing a live stream, I would suggest looking into adding a producer who can run the show while you're hosting the show.
Yeah, it is awkward managing to focus upon the audience on that camera, because you can't see the audience. It's not like me standing on a stage talking to thousands of people, is it? Where you can actually see or feel the audience. That's the big thing I find that's so different. You can't feel, you're not getting the feedback that you could from a live event. But you can still get some sort of feedback from live stream, do you think?
Definitely. Well, you got your comments, and when you're doing something like a Zoom meeting, you can look at your audience there, so you can kind of see face to face. But again, most of the time, your main attention is either towards the yellow little green dot next to your camera, or in this case, I'm using a video camera, so I'm looking pretty much at the lens, as opposed to you who are slightly off my field of vision.
Yeah. Thanks, Bruce. Now, let me remind our audience of your URL, your website address, which is, and obviously viewers, you can see it on the screen behind me, but for listeners, let me spell it out. It's B for Bertie, S for Sugar, V for Victor, P for Peter, BSVP.com. Now, go there and you can download for free Bruce's live stream playbook, which is a simple yet helpful guide to the process around live streaming. Being ahead of the curve is vital in marketing today. Live streaming is one of those areas which will allow you to widen your marketing footprint whilst reducing your carbon footprint. Thanks, Bruce.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.